about the controversy and the diversity in comedy.
All right, so time for a political gut check, focusing right now on this big news out of Washington. President Obama setting new limits on the country's most controversial spy programs.
Yeah, the president is definitely tugging the NSA's reins, but he's also staunchly defending the need for cyber surveillance. It's a middle ground that seems really a far cry from remarks that Senator Obama made in 2007 about the Bush administration. Listen.
This administration also puts forward a false choice between the liberties we cherish and the security we provide. I will provide our intelligence and law enforcement agencies with the tools they need to track and take out the terrorists without undermining our Constitution and our freedom. That means no more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. No more tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war. No more ignoring the law when it is inconvenient. That is not who we are. And it's not what is necessary to defeat the terrorists.
So let's talk about this with CNN political commentators Maria Cardona and Will Cain. Both of you, thank you so very much. You know, Maria, I remember hearing somebody say once, being a senator and talking about security is much different than being a president because you are not privy to everything a president knows. Has he stepped back on his tough stance on civil liberties, in your opinion?
I actually don't think he has, Christy, and for certain that is true. Being a senator or being a member of Congress is very different than being in the Oval Office and really seeing everything every day that we face as a nation in terms of global threats. But in the soundbite that you just played, everything that he talked about are things that no longer happen. And so I don't think it's a discrepancy to say that he's doing something different than what he campaigned on. I think what he is doing, though, is straddling two very complicated and very important interests, such as our privacy concerns and our civil liberties, as well as making sure that we continue to do what we need to do to keep us safe, to focus on national security. And I actually think that he has done that, and he's going to continue the debate, which I think is incredibly important. This is an important transparency debate that we need to have, and I think he was able to straddle that yesterday in the recommendations that he came up with.
There's one element, though. You say that all the things that came from that soundbite, I'm going to come to you, Will, with this, that no longer happening. The president, then Senator Obama, in 07, said that spying on citizens who are not suspected of committing a crime, if they're still collecting the quote-unquote metadata, they're still collecting the phone numbers and the times, isn't that exactly what the president said he would get rid of in 07?
Yeah, so look, we didn't strike any middle ground yesterday, Victor. He's straddling nothing. Virtually nothing happened yesterday. That was window dressing. It's fairy dust. It's lip service to the idea of privacy. The government suggested they're going to leave the metadata in the hands of the phone companies, but he suggested, I'm going to try to transition to that eventuality, that it will stay in the hands of the phone companies. But he said just that. We're going to try to get there. In effect, it's going to stay in the government's hands. And even if it goes into the phone company's hands, he's going to have no problem accessing it. See, what you're seeing here is not an evolution. What you're seeing is a consistency. That President Obama is good at acting. Now, that doesn't make him particularly unique as a politician. He's good at saying what he needs to get elected. In 2007, the people he needed to get elected needed to hear that he would do away with warrantless wiretapping. And now that he's president, he's saying he's making grounds to privacy. He's making concessions to privacy, but he's not. Nothing's happened yesterday.
That's actually so not true, Will. First of all, warrantless wiretapping does not occur anymore. And that actually happened at the end of the Bush administration. And that was something that that President Obama focused on and said should not happen. It does not happen today. Two very important things happened yesterday, which were very different from what had been happening up until now. He talked about appointing a public advocate so that when you go into the FISA court, it is not completely secret. The government is not the only one making the arguments. There will be entities there that are making the arguments in the public interest. That is absolutely a huge change from what had been happening up until now. The second thing is that he talked about doing an annual review and making public, disclosing the arguments to the FISA court that had been made for use of this metadata. Again, huge new transparency issues that did not happen up until yesterday. So Maria, you're wrong, Will, when you say that nothing has happened.
Maria, the constant selling point on this, from those in the administration and those that support it like yourself, is trust me, trust me, trust me, the fox can guard the hen house. We will appoint a public advocate that will go before our appointed FISA court and go and hear the arguments against our appointed Justice Department. Three entities appointed by the government. Three entities, all appointed by the executive branch, all appointed by the government, arguing this issue out. The fox doesn't guard the hen house on this. Here's the final argument. If this was such a big deal, if President Obama made concessions, if he saw the light on privacy, what happened? Why yesterday? Why in the last few months? If it was such a big deal and he truly believed what he said, why not a year ago? The answer is because of one name, Edward Snowden. He doesn't believe this. He's saying it because he thinks we need to hear it.
I completely think that he agrees with this. He believes in it. You're right that Snowden actually spurred the debate, and that's a good thing. But that should not take away from the interest that this president has in this. He's a constitutional lawyer, and we should actually be happy about that because he understands this better than you, better than me, better than anybody that is discussing this right now. And his commitment to privacy and to civil liberties is something that is absolutely real.
And the conversation...
And as president, there is a fine line that you need to walk, and he is walking that fine line.
The conversation will have to continue at another time. Maria Cardona, Will Kane. Sometimes it's best that we just back out and let them have conversation on their own. Maria,
Which is what we did today. We're just going to let you go.
Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Listen, I have to tell you, this one was really frightening to me. I mean, we all know that smoking's just bad for us, right? But did we know how bad? This new report spells out new dangers to lighting up, not just for people who